this service come out of the cave. Howard Hughes was the Bill Gates of a former generation, one of the most richest men at that time on the planet. Howard Hughes, many of us remember, had what we considered to be some eccentric ways. He died in 1976, and though he was a billionaire, owned companies, he often, the report was, would sit in a room for months, even literally years. His life, I found out that Howard Hughes suffered from a disease that is called a certain name and very hard to pronounce. I'm not going to waste time with that. But the disease was one that caused pain to people in which it did not normally cause pain to normal people. We found out he didn't wear clothes because putting on clothes hurt him. Trimming his nails was painful. Cutting his hair hurt him. Pain will make you become secluded. Sometimes people are not crazy, they just hurting. Howard Hughes was hurting, but we called him crazy. He retreated into a dark place because the pain that was in his body. And normally there are times that this disease, I believe some things happen in the spiritual and in the physical. There are some things that hurt people with this disease that don't hurt us. And likewise, I believe there are some things that we think shouldn't hurt folk, but it hurts them very bad. The bottom line is when you can't find resolution for your pain, you retreat often into a dark place, a cave, if you will. You retreat into a cave because there, at least there's the solace of nobody seeing my pain. You retreat into a cave because it lets me nurse my wounds and allow me to have a pity party, and I'm shielded from people who don't understand because they're not going through what I'm going through. They tell me to get over it like it's just easy to get over. Get over that abuse. Get over that loss of that child. Get over the loss of that person. Get over that divorce. Just get over it. But the cave is where I don't have to listen to folk who ain't been through what I've been through. Try to sound like they got it all in control. But in spite of the cave and maybe the comfort it brings, God told me to tell you to come out of the cave. Trouble raising my child, and they're going crazy like everybody else I see look like the best family in the world. When I'm going through hell in my marriage, everybody else I see look like every day is Valentine's Day and tomorrow is Christmas. When I'm going through financial trouble and I'm broke, look like everybody I turn around talking about they got a bonus on their job and somebody else about to hit the lottery. You know, when you're going through and you feel like a failure, the devil has a way of trying to point out things to you to make you feel like you're all by yourself. The devil is an abuser. An abuser likes to isolate you. You get involved with an abusive person, they don't want you talking to your mama, your daddy, your brothers, certainly your brothers for sure, your sisters. They don't want you talking to nobody. They want you cut off from the church because they want you depending on them. Ain't nobody love you that much. They want you cut off from everybody else. Ain't nobody want to see you that much. They want you cut off from everybody else for real. That ain't love. That's abuse because they want you dependent upon them. Well, they ain't God and they ain't Jesus neither. You better watch out when people say, I want you all to myself. No, you need to get you some more friends. I can't be your everything. I say God is my everything. I can't be your everything. And Elijah's all by himself in the cave. And then in the cave, he hears a word from God in the cave. Aren't you glad that God will come to your cave anyhow? I know I am in the cave when I'm by myself, when I feel alone, frustrated, defeated, and disappointed. God will still show up. The God we serve will not show up based upon how good you are, whether you deserve it or not. As the old folks said, he'll look beyond your faults and he will see your new voice. God tells him, come out of the cave. I want somebody to know there's nothing wrong with worship and nothing wrong with corporate worship, nothing wrong with going to conferences, nothing wrong with allowing people to lay hands on you, but God doesn't move the same way every time. Maybe instead of running for somebody, looking for the next gallon of oil, instead of maybe traveling out of town to the next conference, maybe you need to go somewhere in your secret closet and say, God, I'm tired of being in the cave. I need you to touch me, because if you ain't praying by yourself, you ain't gonna get no blessing out of the conference. You gotta learn to talk to him for yourself. Go down on your knees in your secret closet and say, Father, I stretch my hand to thee. No other help that I know. I just one out of 10 people here who will tell you there's more power in your secret closet than being in every church in the Golden Strip. You better learn to get in your secret closet and call on his name. In a still small voice. You want the preacher to preach some word and angels come down from heaven and tell you something special. No, you get all by yourself. Just you and God. Lay before God in the spirit. Open up yourself and say, God, any way you talk to me, I am listening. But today is my last day in the cave. You tell the devil, I'm going to give you a change of address because I'm coming out of the cave.